there are lots of people lining up to take over the leadership of the PMP from Mark Golding. And we say that, well, I say that certainly on the assumption that Mark is going to leave anytime soon. Because I have been getting some information to suggest that Mark have no intention of leaving anytime too soon. I mean, that could be a good information, or that could be information to throw us off. But we're going to talk about Peter Murcott Bunting and his aspiration to still lead the People's National Party. Hello, everybody. Karen Cecilia here. Remember to like the video, give it a big like, and send me a pithy comment. For those of you who have not yet subscribed, go right ahead and do so. In this dispensation, I am going to reach for Mr. Samuel Clemens, aka Mark Twain. Samuel Longhorn Clemens. Is Longhorn? I think it's Longhorn. Longhorn Clemens. Mr. Mark Twain, who not only has a lot of things to say about a lot of things, or pretty much everything, but the history of him is about wit and wisdom. And so I went and looked up for what was he talking about in terms of leadership. Because for me, Mark Twain is one of the great literature giants that never missed the mark. I mean, this is a early 19th century man that basically found the mark of everything that we are today. And that history demands that we keep going back to those things in order to understand what our 21st century mind is working on that. And Mark Twain started with loyalty, about what is required for a leader. And we're going to start with Mark Twain because Peter Murcott Bunting is Mr. Machiavelli, and there are certain things that is missing in his entire character, if we can find his character, still looking for it, or his demeanor, or his public life, to suggest that he has these things or these qualities to become leader. But let me be absolutely clear, as I've said before, many times, years before, and even maybe recently, I don't know if I've said it, that had he been successful in 2019 against Peter Phillips, he would have been a better leader than Mark Golding, precisely because his ambition is driven by what destiny that he has in his mind. And therefore, he would have found ways and means to make sure that nobody not going away and nobody not leave, and everybody surround him to help him achieve that goal. So I just want to get that out of the way. But there are some things that Mr. Mark Twain, Mr. Clemens, has to say. And Mark Twain's first thing about leadership is loyalty. And he made a distinction between loyalty to country and loyalty to government. And in the same breath, because of how he uses words, I could say when he said loyalty to government, he also means loyalty to a party. And he said that one should only be loyal to the government or your party if it deserves it. Therefore, he clearly took out the part of being loyal to your country as the ultimate loyalty. Loyalty to country. And then he said the loyalty to your government, and by extension, because of how he uses those words and how his mind works, I am assuming that he could say the same thing about a political party, which in all his writings he had total disdain for. All right. Then he spoke about change, and he said that patriots are often hated and scorned at the start. That initial necessary change may often be unpopular. But Mark Twain also spoke about patriotism. And he reminds us that people who stand up for principle and for their country and are regarded as patriots, they're usually hated and scorned at the start. I think that maybe Twain was saying that, when you start standing up for what is right and stand up for your country at the beginning, some people might not like it, but in the end, it will benefit everyone, and they might. The next statement, so Peter Bunting has no loyalty and he has no patriotism. We know that, so we can establish those things that Mark Twain talking about. Humility. Mark Twain believes that um, learning through experience is um, uh, is better than schooling. He was one of them, but he was not the only literary giant that believed that. There are many literary giants. Oscar Wilde believed that learning through experience is much, much better than schooling, because Oscar Wilde himself said, yeah, education is a good thing, but that which is necessary cannot be taught, or that which is important cannot be taught. So both Wilde and Twain believes that experience trumps any amount of education that one could want to pay ahead. Integrity and ethics is another thing that Mark Twain believed. Doing the right thing, always do the right thing, because at the end of the day it will gratify some people and it will certainly astonish the rest. True words. Then there's courage and independence. And Mark Twain emphasized that whenever you find yourself on the side of the majority, it is time for you to pause and reflect. And that for me is something that has been running around in my mind about that. Whenever you find yourself on the side of the majority, it is time to pause and reflect. And I don't know if Mark Twain is talking about the majority being wrong sometimes, or the majority is a popularity thing. Maybe that's what it means, and the majority can also change its mind. I'm putting this out as my thought process because of how much of Mark Twain I have read and understand what his thinking might have been. When he said that it probably meant that these things are fleeting. The majority will be on your side today, and then you do something that the majority don't like, and tomorrow they're not on your side. It could also mean that the majority from time to time don't make good decisions. That is also something that we could accept. That Mark Twain is saying. Then he talk about authenticity, and in authenticity, Mark Twain is talking about know your own value, right? Know your own values, and your true north is the word that he used to become an effective leader. So you have to have convictions. That's what Mark Twain said. You have to have convictions. You have to have values, and if you don't have those things, then it makes a sense that you go take up yourself and talk about you as a great leader, or you're a leader at all. Then he spoke about some other things like mental resilience and adaptability, how leaders must be able to adapt to crises and to changes, and you must always use those chaos and changes as a catalyst to growth. In other words, you could use the words from Rahm Emanuel, famously said in the Clinton administration when he was Bill Clinton's chief of staff during the Monica Lewinsky thing. Rahm Emanuel said, well, we never make a good scandal go to waste. Basically, I think that's what Mark Twain is saying. You must adapt, and you must find ways to thrive amid all the chaos and uncertainty, and use it to grow. Emotional intelligence is another thing that maybe Mark Twain mentioned emotional intelligence as something out of his academic mind, because from what we know, he was not a very, very, very touchy-feely man. He loved hard, he did. And he loved, yes, he did. Based on his history, he loved hard. He was some kind of womanizer too at some point. So it said that he's saying that emotional intelligence requires high self-awareness and self-management, to control your reactions and get feedback and manage the well-being of the overall team. And your emotional intelligence must be directed not so much at you, but at other persons as well. So I don't know. Mark Twain is the man for me that has this thing down to a pat, and therefore I like to go to him. But there's a book. There's a book written about Winston Churchill, and many books have been written about Winston Churchill. I like to go to Winston Churchill too. Why? because Churchill stands the role that he played in World War II, how he and the whole thing is not written yet in truth, believe me. Historians prefer to say that Churchill and Franklin Delano Roosevelt got together and invited Stalin to join them against Hitler. But the truth of all of that is that Churchill was trying for months to get America to enter the war, and America was refusing, rejecting, and saying, no, the Bastille tight is a Europe thing, you know. And then Churchill came up with this. But this guy named Andrew Roberts wrote a book. It's an audio book. It's an audio book about Churchill. It's entitled "Walking with Destiny." And basically, what Andrew Roberts is saying is that Churchill spent his entire young adulthood, from prep school to military college, whatever, preparing himself basically for all the leadership that he for all the things that he thought in his mind that he might have to play a role in, and that is something hard for many people to swallow. But based on all of the biographies and autobiographies of Winston Churchill, most people tend to suggest that Churchill unknowingly or unwittingly was basically preparing himself not to be prime minister or leading an effort against a war against the devil himself. Well, Hitler was worse than the devil. Um, it's not so much that Churchill was preparing himself to be able to converse, to be able to contribute, to be able to hold a conversation about things, and that is what his preparation was. And Roberts was saying that the book, the audiobook highlights Churchill's refusal to surrender. It emphasizes role in rallying the British Empire to victory. He used to give these speeches on the radio pretty much every damn day or every other day to get the British people, to keep them in a sense of hopefulness and faith. And Churchill was said one thing about leadership is that you must establish clear communication. Say what you have to say as clearly as you can and in as few words as possible. And leaders must have purpose. You need a kind of definite body of doctrine and convictions, and you need those things to navigate crisis. So you can't be a leader without some simple little things that one would need to be a leader, to improve, to adapt. Your leaders must always have positive attitude. I love that about Churchill, and I am that. I'm optimistic and positive as a leader in my own community. I am positive about the outcome of most things being positive. I never dwell on the negative aspect of it. And Churchill said that, leader must be a lighthouse of hope in a storm, not a weather vane, not somebody who procrastinate either. He must be active and quick, and all of that. So yeah, this biography of him by this guy named Roberts, it covers his full life from his aristocratic upbringing, because Churchill was born in wealth, and to his time as prime minister. Remember that Churchill was prime minister from 1940 until 45. He lost in 45 after he brought Britain through the war, and then he ran back in 51 and served one term until 55. And but his most remembered point of that. And with that, I want to talk to you about all the people who are lining up to become leaders of the People's National Party, and if Mark Golding is going anywhere. And I suppose some of these things would include him as well. We spoke about Damian Crawford and him being a weak person, so we don't see him really, really leading anything, because weak people can't lead. And that is a clear and precise thing. And we don't need to go through it and make a fuss about it and quarrel about it. Weak people can't lead. And that is what it is. The psychology of 21st century leaders is not command and control anymore. It's a it's basically a human centric kind of thing, disrupt technological disruption and a diverse foray of people who have different views and different things, and that is because of how the world has advanced. So then, how would Peter Bunting want to be leader of the PNP going forward? So let's look at some of the simple dynamics of that and how that would be. So it's not easy to swallow. All right. First of all, Peter Bunting is 66 years old this year, and by the next election don't necessarily have to be 2030. Next election could be 2029 as well, or maybe even late 28. Depends on how things going and how the 1 p.m. decide that I'm going to move along. But in any case, Peter Bunting is moving on into the age of 70. Now, I am not anti-age. I am not people. Some people are against certain things. You're homophobic. Yeah, well, some people are age discriminatory, discriminate against age, and I don't believe in discriminating against age. So I'm not looking at his age, but I want to just put that out there. But let's look at the man himself and what he has done and what he has offered and why the PNP people should actually, if they choose, to elect him. First of all, when he came into the PNP in the early when he won that seat down in Clarendon and start boast at him be, the first thing him do, which is against everything that Churchill and Mark Twain believe in, was start boasting about how him beat Shearer. No humility, none at all. He was never humble about the fact that he won the seat, and he never gave God thanks, and he never thanked the former Prime Minister, Mr. Hugh Shearer, for serving the country. It's always just a boast. No humility, it's just a boast. I beat a former Prime Minister, Hugh Shearer, and run him out of constituency. Those were his words constantly. For years, he used them. Unfortunate for him, when he won that seat and PJ, he was looking to be a minister of government immediately. But I think PJ saw him a mile coming and decided that he going to clip him wing. So PJ never really gave him nothing for the PJ. Gave him one office, one desk, he made him get him a morning newspaper. At I think it was something to do with health or something, and that's certain, or I could be wrong. And then him just sat down at the office there and then decided say him not gonna stay because PJ not going to elevate him as fast as he needed to be elevated. And he was not willing either to do the hard work. Why do I say that? The PNPYO did approach him when he won that seat and PJ named him as parliamentary secretary, I think it was. We approached him. We saw him as one of the young guys coming in and, giving him a chance. We were handing him a grand opportunity to come and work with the PNPYO. That time it was a PNPYO of integrity, a PNPYO, a patriotic PNPYO. We weren't money-centric. We were not power-centric. We were about building Jamaica, building the PNPYO, building the PNP, and building the country. That's what we were about. So in retrospect, looking back at it, I could say that maybe those things never appealed to him because he sat there and listened to us with a smirk smile on his face. That little smirk smile with him have that him listen to you, but you're going to get no anyway. That one, that capitalist kind of smile. It's a smile that most capitalists has. And he listened to us and never even gave us the time of day. Never even say, okay, I'll come to a meeting and see how you guys doing things. No, because we were idealistic back in those days. We're not money-centric and power-centric and position-centric. We were idealistic. We believe in power for the people. We think that poor people should get everything government should give them and we should give them. We believe that everybody should be able to go to school and get free education and health. We believe those things with all our heart. Those are not talking points for us. We believe them. So we went to him. He never gave us a time of day. So he missed a grand opportunity. As any good leader could have taken that opportunity and said, Ah, okay. Since I want to be leader of the PMP one day and I want PJ to give me a big position, let me align myself with this idealistic PMPYO. And maybe he could have learned some things from us, but he never took that opportunity. So there is that. Because his plan was not to work and build anything to do it. His plan was to use his money and whatever little personality you have, which is not much, to propel himself to that position. And he shoot it down, and it never went back to him again from then. So he went around doing his own thing. He left when PJ never gave him nothing, and all of that. He left the party, go building business, make a lot of money from the policies of the People's National Party and the policies from the Jamaica Labour Party as well too. And then when Porsha became, he stayed in the party on the fringe, and when Porsha became leader, he saw his opportunity. He saw the opportunity just like how PJ saw it. All of them, they lack vision, and because them have no character, and because them have no patriotism in them, they all saw Porsha. PJ's support and propelling of Porsha over Peter Phillips was not that he believes that Porsha is better equipped to run the country. He know that Peter Phillips was much better equipped. That's Porsha was equipped in my mind, but Peter Phillips was much better equipped, much more advanced, much more ready. And as a party that share a vision to have the country do better, you would think that everybody would say, all right, let's go with the man with the more experience and the person that has this, this little thing over the other person. But no, that was not PJ thing. PJ thing was about control. And so when Bunting came back, it was about the same thing. All of them came with a with a thing in them head that them can manipulate and control Porsha Lucretia Simpson. At the time, Porsha Lucretia Simpson Miller. Boy, were they wrong. They were so wrong. They totally underestimated Porsha. Because as Mark Twain, as I just told you, what Mark Twain said about knowing yourself and values, what Mark Twain said about experience, much better than schooling, and as Oscar Wilde also said, that education is great, but that which is worth knowing cannot be taught. It has to be learned or experienced. Porsha had that in spades. So them couldn't run around her. And whenever she think that them saying some foolishness that you say, she just dismissed them. She had a way of just dismissing them, not entertaining no argument with them. And she was not the kind of person where you could schedule a meeting for to have the argument. When she dismissed you, you get dismissed and you go on about your business. She done. Just like when Omar Davis them had some kind of shortfall in the budget, and they all wanted to raise bus fare and poor people. And them, I don't know what they was trying, but them come at the NEC with the Porsche get up and tell them, say, they forgot find it somewhere, now raise a bus fare for poor people. That argument end, there's no other discussion about it. Nobody can bring it up again, I eat that. So, they were disappointed. PJ thought as a person that groomed her and helped to create in her also a simplistic mind. I don't mean that in any kind of disrespectful way. But PJ helped create Porsha to make her less able to manage. And let me explain what I mean by that. And this is well-known knowledge. I'm not saying anything that is not well-known knowledge. I mean, I say nothing here that is not well-known and public information already. At PJ, Porsha was not a disciplined minister. For Porsha lacked discipline in many, many respects. She did. And I mean discipline like meetings. Porsha is a late arriver at meetings, and more than once she will leave early too. But for cabinet, for example, Porsha was allowed to come late and to leave early, and PJ liked that and make excuses for her. Porsha had to go there, Porsha had to go there. So she wasn't participating in the day-to-day running of government, so to speak. And I know that some of the Porsha people, they're going to jump and say that is not true, but it is the absolute truth. She participated at a very minimal level, and that was what PJ wanted. And people like Bunting knew that, and so he came back, and they thought that they could manipulate Porsha. When he came back, he wanted to be general secretary. Porsha wanted DK to be general secretary. All of us, including myself, thought that, even though him run away and him come back, in terms of building back the secretariat and building back the party base around the country, he would be a better person than DK. DK come from old school, and we never thought that DK would be able to fully comprehend and understand how the present thing was working. We also thought that DK was a one-man band, basically. Where he just issue out things and tell somebody to come do some things, which might have worked, because it worked when he was leading the thing. It worked. In some respect, those kind of things work. But we decided that we're going to support Bunting. And we did. We supported him. What did he do when he was General Secretary? Unlike Peter Phillips or Paul Robertson, but particularly Peter Phillips, he never built a team. The people that support Peter Phillips up to this day, those are people that Peter Phillips recruited and took care of right from he became General Secretary of the BNP. From the beginning. So Peter Phillips went around the country, all constituencies. He went as General Secretary. He was basically micromanaging constituencies, willing them to build back, willing them to be better again and recruit more young people and all of that. And it was those years as General Secretary that Peter Phillips used to build the base that he still has, quite frankly. Peter Bunting does not have a base that he built and nurtured. What Peter Bunting was looking for are people with weaknesses that he could manipulate, weaknesses that he could use against them and use them. Psychology he was using. So I'm looking for people like Bryce and people like the Future International Scammer and Dayton Campbell. I'm looking for some guys, and well, he was looking for the girls who him sleeping with and them educated. It was very clear now. Him looking for mostly women who were educated and kind of smart, not too smarter than him, but kind of smart. And he was looking for low-life men, those down in the dumps, those that will do anything for a buck. And he recruited them and gathered them around him, led by the pedophile Leighton Epstein, the one where the Future International Scammer, the one who run the NWU, all of them people there. He just recruit a whole bunch of parasites that he knew what their weaknesses were. So he chose not to be a leader that is uplifting and a leader who have values and a leader who have integrity. He chose not that. He never chose what Churchill and Mark Twain is talking about. Oh no. He chose his brand of things. He never had nobody who has any humility or any integrity and ethics. He wanted those people who are unethical. So he can get to further corrupt them, and then once he further corrupt them, he can control them, which he still does. A majority of them, he still does control them. I have a portion of them, and he put a portion of them on him pay bill, and they, he can wake up at 3 in the morning and say, here, we're going to do this tomorrow. And everybody say, yes, boss. Nobody don't want to question it. Nobody not ask a question. Nobody not think about it. Nobody say, really? Is that what we could? Oh, never try that with me at all. Never try that. Me and him operate on a different level. Because him know that my brand of politics is way above his. Bunting has always known that him always want to have me close with him. Because him can't buy me, him can't corrupt me, and him know that I'm going to argue up with him about all kinds of things. So, but we had a good relationship. I think him like that him could have find 1 and 2 people like myself who were going to take no crap from him and ask him if he's mad and all that kind of thing. But him larger group, him more sacred group was those man, particularly those men, those who love underage picnic, those who have several women and baby mothers all over the country. A few kind of people, them, man. Those who have serious problems with money. Them kind of people, them love, man. So him recruit them, man. And him have those with him. Still have a good chunk of them. So, what am I saying? I am saying that even now in 2026, Peter Bunting has not yet reached a level of the kind of leader that a political party should have. Yeah, him don't reach that level yet. At his age, I don't know if it's too late. I'm telling you, I'm not again, I'm not against age. I'm not anti old people. Nothing, not at all. I think people my age and his age have a lot to contribute, but it depends on who the persons are. I can contribute a lot because my values are intact and my soul is intact. Him, him not no values. Him soul gone long time. Him sell that to the devil. The devil owns that. So the question begs to be asked: who am going to lead? All right, make we answer the question. The People's National Party, the entire membership, 40 plus thousand of them, all of them, are they all as they were in 2020? Are they all as they were elected Mark? Are they all as they were? Or are they all just still the same? Don't stand up for nothing. Afraid to stand up for nothing because it affect them look of money. Or afraid to stand up for something because it affect them position. Are they still the same persons? Are those the persons who cherish and preferred party over country? Are those still the persons who cherish and prefer them local money over, being idealism, for example? Because the country lack idealism, by and large. We do lack idealism. We need more young people who are idealistic. The young people, them are too dark, them too pessimistic. Everything for them is going downhill. But I don't know. I think generationally and over the decades, I think most young people were always like that, thinking that things going to hell all the time, and maybe they ought to just go and do whatever they want to worry about, not because everything just look like it going to hell. But are they? That's a question we have to ask ourselves. Are they the same? If I choose to answer the question, I will tell you that they are. There's nothing to show me or you. But if you know anything that I don't know, then you should tell me, because if it's one thing I know in life is that I know nothing. So I am willing to know something all the time because I don't believe I know anything. So I, I think they are. I think they're the same set of people who will sell them grandmother for $5,000, who will not think twice about voting for Peter Bunting. If him send 10,000, come give them. So the country and those of us who prioritize loyalty and integrity and country over party would have to say that the future of the opposition People's National Party are still is still in the hands of those who prioritize them dinner money and such delight on them look regular money over national development, over peace, over prosperity, over patriotism, over putting the country first, no matter what. And if those are the people that still have that power to decide if you're going to have a leader who could at any time, and the electorate is a very fickle electorate. Yes, they are fundamentally, there is a shift because the voters have become a little bit more sophisticated, and that is because the world has gotten smaller and people have more access to information. And even though people read a lot of crap on social media, that them still now read a book. I think them have a basic understanding. Basically, them can watch world politics. Them don't have to go to Sweden to know what's going on there. Them can sit down in the yard and know that the Netherlands just elected its youngest first gay prime minister, and him and him husband, them get sworn in yesterday. That was Tuesday, and I'm going to run the Netherlands, and the Netherlands is embracing him, while all Jamaicans are still running up and down all over the world, accepting the LGBTQ community, but can't accept it for them country. And those are the things that is stifling and killing the Caribbean, and particularly Jamaica is supposed to be a breakout place from the rest of the world. But that's a discussion we can have another time. I just throwing that out there in terms, just for the purpose of this, So yeah, will they or won't they? Because I don't know if Peter Bunting will be good for the current PMP. He might be, because it's him shape the way it is now. And we can't just skirt over that. Him can take up $1 million any day of the week and give all 60, well, take out Mark out of it, well, include Mark in it, and give all over to them, 28 of them, $1 million any day, I say, Me I run, and they might just line up, and then him give them an next million and say, give everybody the group them this, and they go, because that is how he has functioned. Him not going to have the dialogue with people about whether it is a good thing or whether you'd be a good leader, and them not going to sit down, and them not going to think about it, and them not going to wonder to themselves, is it wise? Is it a good thing? Because Mark is isolating himself from Peter Bunting right now as we speak. Mark don't want nothing to do with Peter Bunting, because Mark believe that Peter Bunting was the one who led him to make such a whole colossal mistake in his short stint as leader of the PMP. Not saying that Mark is a good person, far from it, because any man who become a leader of a movement and allow another man to lead you in the way that Bunting has led him, along with him right hand man in the juggling, the pedophile. I mean, what can we say about all of them? So there, that's it. So Peter Murcott Bunting, the Machiavellian one, him still gunning for the top job to be leader of the People's National Party, and thus to become opposition leader, because it really no matter which one of them become leader of the party, there will be opposition leader for all to see. Is Bunting brave? Does he have any kind of courage? I don't think he has the courage, because the things that he would have done if he was the leader, he encouraged Mark Golding not to do. That is a lack of courage, because he was afraid that if Mark do those things, then it's going to leave him behind, and he won't have the power that he currently has. Angela Bromberg is like that too. And she wants to be leader too. I don't ever go look into her, because I don't see her as a serious contender. But they are like that. He's narcissistic, and he's self-absorbed, and he believes himself to be the brightest shot man alive, and all the rest of it. And of course, we never want to start going on in personal life and all them kind of nastiness about them want to lead country. But finally, I want to say to you that the ultimate decision is still going to be those very said people that elected Mark Golding, those very same people who continue to elect people in the regions and all over the world, all over the country, and still saying, yeah, we are PMP, my diet, or some foolishness like that. It is them who is going to decide who this country should call the leader of the opposition. And for me, that is a daunting proposition. How about you? Remember to like the video, send me a pithy comment. All right? And for those of you who have not yet subscribed, please do so. Thank you for listening to my rant. This was a little bit, this was so much a big rant, right? This was kind of a sober rant. Tell me. I think so. I don't know if I'm right. Maybe I am. But, think of it. But thank you for listening. God bless you all. Please stay safe, and do keep our children safe.